comfortable with it?
I was trying to get, that's why I was more down, boom, boom, my, a little more.
A little less sustained.
Yeah, not too much, but I very good, it's good. But yeah, okay. Thank you. Prepare.
Let me just comment on Suzanne's second side. Oftentimes I'll say to Ray, play it richer, embellish it, play it fuller, because I think what you hear there is musicality. You don't just hear the clarity of the little bit, but you hear the fullness. And I think that's really important for them, that their ears are being developed as well as their...
So you don't mind what we take in?
No, I don't. Yeah, not at all.
I mean, in the one I looked at, it looked like they were composed by somebody. They weren't like...
The blue one pretty much was, yes. The blue one pretty much was. It's pretty free, yeah.
But now
then
this
that
one-
went out of... That has been around, I wouldn't dare tell you my age, but that's been around longer
This
than
was
me.
at our library, and I was
Yeah.
looking at it, and the person who edited this substituted some pieces for other pieces that Giacchetti had chosen, embellished some, or changed the harmony or something like that. So
I think that has for me the most all the music of Schumann and Chopin.
Yes. No. I mean,
Like they didn't want anybody to become tied to the music and fall in
right.
love with the art.
I mean, there's the
But the new elementary and the new children's work has lovely stuff like what Suzanne was just saying.
Yeah, because I noticed. Well, this one has this piece in it. I could never imagine ever using that for any exercise. I just can't imagine it. It is so heavy and depressing. Never use it.
Okay, let's do the challenge exercise. Listen to the first two beats and compare the second two. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 da-da-dum, da-da-dum, pum pum pum, da-da-da-dum, pum pum pum, da-da-da-dum, pum pum pum, dee-ya-da-dum, ya-da-dum, ya-da-dum, pum pum pum, dee-ya-da-dum, pum 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 pum. Stay. Now go close to the left and let Suzanne have that last note and then okay? On the tone, feel free to take your head with the movement as well. Okay? Always listen to the first one, you kind of set your tempo for it. Right, Suzanne? And 1. 1. Slowly and now, would you do anything different?
Cute piece, myself.
Second slide, let's not do the tongue, let's go straight to the degage, and then we can get through a little bit more material. The degage, they're going to have the same tempi, the same preparation. 1, 2, 3, lift down, 4, and the one that you want to listen to 1, 2, 3, rest the foot off for 4, go 5. Okay, let's head out to the bar. Thanks to the preparation, all you're doing is working with the turnout. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3. Low, stay. Right. No delicious fancy pork broth and schmaltz. Okay? All right. Thanks, Suzanne. Okay, one more time. Echo. We just did that. Yum, yum. One more time. And clear. 1, 2, and 1.
We shouldn't have waited so long. Maybe it should have happened a little more before then, so it forced you to get into the task of being your own metronome.
Yeah.
One way to ease into that would be to hint at it little by little, and then to play it out completely
At certain point.
at certain points, yeah.
Can we do it a couple
Another thing you can do is,
So you get a little bit of
did get should be because it was hard for me with this real light beat to be doing all these throwing things.
felt good when the percussion came in,
It felt good for this kind of stuff,
that part.
but then for this,
Heaviness.
But and then this is the interesting thing is how much this particular aesthetic really doesn't give you what you'd like. It has a remarkable ability of avoiding giving you what you like. It doesn't mean that we can't. I shouldn't say that. But a lot of times it really means that you cannot not do that other work. So that all that has to be whatever you're hearing. It could be nothing sounding, because if you look at any of the work, you'll see that there is this incredibly sparse support from the music. There is no phrasing, there's no accents, there's nothing to hang on to that way. So if you got it in class and then you went to do the actual repertoire, boy, would you be thrown.
Yeah, you've got to keep that volume going. What I saw happening was that they began to shrink in terms of their sense of phrasing, and they were getting way ahead.
Well, this is actually similar to the problem we had in the last class, where it also depends on how well you know
Right.
warm-up of the material and how comfortable you are, to.
And ever since, we don't study together, so this is returning to something we did a long time ago.
I understand how we need to learn how to be musical and all that stuff. But I think one of the reasons why we shrank, I know I shrank is because I'm very concerned about the movement, and then I have to think really hard about where the beat is in the music. It takes my mind off the movement, and it's like, okay, well, this is where the music is, and I completely forget about the movement.
Yeah,
And that's part
something-
of that particular discipline, isn't it? It's a kind of very cerebral, we're talking when we say adaptive. This is supposedly a Cunningham class, and we are doing a variation on it.
But
That
whenever the beat is pulled that way, I think it has to be done gradually. It can't,
You can't just pull the rug out.
you just can't pull the rug out and expect people to, unless they're very advanced and so strong in the movement that they're going to do what they do no matter what.
Right.
Now, there's a question back here.
Oh, the beat doesn't change,
Right.
and you don't have to make it. You just have to hold on to it. It's a different thing.
Mm.
If you just stay where you were, he can play anything he wants to. Really?
Yeah.
I mean, ultimately,
Yes.
he can.
But that's the difficult part.
Yeah.
Because they're so used to, dancers in just about every technique class are very used to having sound tell them
Total support.
where they are,
Yeah.
what to do.
Yeah.
And when it changes drastically like that, unexpectedly, the first impulse is to think that something went wrong. And just in that instant, it's enough to get you off. Oh, gee, something's
It's a
wrong.
lack of
And then
trust.
you're off the beat, and even if you were on the beat, you're no longer on the beat. And there's nothing to
Not
get you
trusting
back on.
themselves and not
So you really have to stick to your guns no matter what.
I have a suggestion, following what you're saying. What if it starts and you assume there's no music? Just try it once that way. Assume that there's no music.
Okay, let me just say one thing about this, because this is the way, I don't know if you know Nancy Meehan, who's, when I worked with her many years ago, she didn't want any music, because she wanted the dancers to sing the music through their bodies. And she said, I shouldn't feel that I need to play on every beat. If they're doing something that's a 16-count phrase, if I want to play on beats 5 and 7 and nothing else, that's fine. But she wanted everything to come from the dancers. So that's what we're going to try right now.
Do you have questions on the presentation?
I was just going to say, isn't there like a danger of becoming completely, isn't there a danger of becoming completely disconnected of the music if you go ahead and tell yourself, okay, there's not going to be any music, and then, I understand the Cunningham technique and that it doesn't have to follow the impulse of the dance movement itself, but shouldn't you try to find something within the music to try to connect somehow?
Well,
You know?
I think that, personally, I think that there has to be some kind of connection. And whenever I do something like play more of a counterpoint against the movement, I do it gradually so as not to completely throw everyone off. Especially if you're doing jumps and I see everyone's together, and then I'll leave space,
Right.
you see. But I usually do it when I get a sense that the group here has a strong ensemble. You see that you have a real strong kinetic rhythm happening. That's my cue to pull back a little bit and let them really feel that. But I wouldn't necessarily do it as abruptly as Saul just demonstrated right now. I think what he was doing
There's
was...
actually, there's room for more compassion even than
Yeah.
that. The other side of it is that maybe it would be more fair to do this kind of experimentation on a different combination that doesn't have so much for you to think about. That I don't know. If you feel it's okay,
We've got it.
you've got it, then let's rock and roll.
Okay.
I think that, because we had done stuff where they just completely, yesterday in class, they completely pulled the music out when we were dancing. And I think it's basically just what she said before, that we don't work with Patty very much, and that we just don't know.
Okay.
Do you want me to give it to you one more time?
Sure, one.
Also, yeah, it's helpful to musicians.
Yes, we're still working in the 5, and the tempo is 1, 4, 5, 1.
Right. Whoever is playing, maybe it's just,
there are points that it's very grounded. You're going down and up. Okay? Don't make it all the same thing. It's not step making. Tempo, ready, begin, out.
what you said. I said, oh, well, of course, the first part's real suspended, the second part's grounded. But that made all the difference. Get that.
You look like you have something else.
I mean,
This is a craft. Both of us are doing crafts, and so we need to challenge ourselves. No matter what we're coming up with, we need to challenge ourselves to come up with more and more layers of sophistication. First, of course, is to get the beat, and maybe the phrase length, and maybe the meter, and then the accents. But then there is so much more. Those are 4 steps out of 89, not 4 steps out of 10, or 4 steps out of 4. And so, if a thing goes on as long as it has here, we need to try, as far as challenging ourselves, that many different ways of finding a solution. Some will work better than others. And of course, when we find something that works, we're so delighted that we would like to repeat it. And there should be some satisfaction in this work, not just a grind or a fearful thing. But the craft, the perseverance of finding, well, how many other ways could it be done, puts freshness in it. Because even steak 3 times a day, 7 days a week is going to kill us all. And so even the image being that if we find something that works, that's great, but we need to find other things that work as well.
can I ask you a question? I love this room, but I kind of feel like I should play more simply in this room. Do you feel that way, that things so reverberant that you love it? You can hear it?
But there's their perspective.
It's clear enough? It's clear, all right.
Okay.
I think it is for us.
Yeah,
We are getting the benefit of a college organ.
Yeah.
You are sitting.
You do get the benefit of a big sound. Sometimes you have to simplify it.
Also, we will have other meetings where we talk about different aspects like the kinesthetic, so I'm not going to talk about that here. But if we could have the music feel, that's the kinesthetic, the way they are feeling, that will change our palette too. It will add another dimension to just the bones of it, the bones maybe being the beats and the proportions. We're dealing with life. And if there isn't vitality in our dancing and our music, we've missed some aspect. And I don't know when it comes, but we know, I mean, I don't know how it comes, but we know a moment, yes, that's working. We have to be willing actually to make tremendous mistakes, but not judge them. Let the notes fall off, not be perfect. What's perfect anyway? I don't really know. But try to get the energy. Saul has something to add.
Something occurred to me based on this phrase, and I just walked in on the phrase, that it's like 2 different instruments. But it seemed to me like a call and response, like the piano.
Would you like to play an example?
Sure.
We have one or 2 dancers doing it again, not the whole group maybe.
Do you want a preparation for tempo? Sorry about that illusion there.
Without anyone dancing, could I just play one brief example as another, the continuity, so we need both. And we were getting one or the other lots. I'm not sure I can demand myself to do this, but I would play the arms first. And then when they go across more in a different level of space, I would use a different level in the keyboard. I don't play the piano as well as a lot of you, but I use the piano, and I use the piano keyboard as if it were the floor and the room. And I just make Mickey Mouse judgments, parallels. But it's in the interest of aligning what they're doing spatially as well as rhythmically, as well as melodically. And so the lyricism of the arms, anyone who plays for ballet, of course, would have a good idea of how to hook up on visually playing the arms. Maybe modern dance accompanists might not have thought of it, or maybe they have. But
Yeah, go for it. Play it. Fans.
I'd like to just second that, because I've played for Linda for about 15 years or so. And one of the keys, I think, of my approach to playing for her is to use the entire keyboard. You really have to use the whole range.
Well, you notice that she as a person and teacher gives her all. And so if a musician to give any less than their all would not match, we wouldn't be coming together on those levels too. At the same time, we have to use taste so that we don't pound them into the ground. The power of music is enormous, and it can either help the dancers or hinder them. And if we misjudge and play too thickly when it's a thin style, or too thinly when it's a thick style, God bless us all, but it's just not the right solution. So we keep crafting it along the way. We're working constantly. We should be exhausted after an hour and a half, and we should never ask ourselves in our academia to play more than 2 classes, I think, in a row without a break, because it is so totally demanding if we're really doing the job well. We're giving our heart, our minds, and our bodies. Shall I craft some more, a little longer, so we'll see what happens?
Go.
All right. However, I listen, maybe it's because I'm a woman, or maybe it's because I'm receptive, but I tend to like to listen to how the teacher would start it, because I get all kinds of nuances from exactly how she's using her voice or her body. So would you mind beginning us, and I'll come in, hopefully on one.
First, 2, tempo, begin, out.
And before, we're going to go back. No, please stop. The point is, this is a 6-count phrase, is it not?
Yeah.
And therefore, for us musicians, we would appreciate something in terms, the introduction in terms of the point of the realm. So instead of saying 1, 2, 3, 4 and expect it to start, either say 3, 4, 5, 6, and we start, or say 4, 5, 6, or say 1, 2, 3. But 1, 2, 3, 4 and expecting it to start to play 6 is the least likely of my expectations, and that's why there might be a little confusion.
And then what do you do with someone who doesn't like using numbers?
But you are using numbers.
Well,
First, 2,
there.
That's a number.
Yeah, that's all right. That's all right. But see, you're still giving 4 O's. Gotcha. And we need either 6 or 3.
Gotcha. Okay.
Or you can call it 3, 4, 5, 6. If you mind if I understand that.
And that's good for me to know. And the reason I don't like to use counter numbers is that I don't like them learning material by counting numbers.
Exactly.
So I'll do more words.
D-da-dee, begin.
Well,
I have a suggestion. Because it's a change of action on 4, 5, 6, that you should always start on 4, 5, 6.
okay. Or all 6 if it's a beginning class and you don't know each other and you really want comfort of all 6 beats.
The main point is that the meter's in 3 rather than 4, we make it 4 pulses. It really doesn't matter what you say, you do a beautiful pulse. So it should be 3 rather than 4, that's all, because 4 sets up a beautiful meter. And we gotta play it straight.
Wait, now you're counting twice as fast. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1.
Before you went something like 1, 5, 5, 5, 5.
bada boo boo going, but it allows me to point out a difficulty. We have both the need for inner and outer focus. We need to focus outer to see the dance, but we need to focus inwardly when we create. And sometimes we get caught, I get caught in between. And I look up and suddenly the dancers are finished. And you think, well, what's wrong with this musician? Don't they care? Don't they know what's going on? And the point is, I just went too far into my creativity in musical terms, and for temporarily, just for seconds, forgot where I was. So that's for your understanding of why maybe a musician might dribble over. It's not that they're trying to be negative or anything. They just got lost in their own creativity. And now, obviously, I was a great cesspool of ideas. In other words, you just see me hacking away, trying it this way, try it that way. Don't worry, throw the notes off, but get the energy, get the shape, get the vitality. And thank goodness you're good enough dancers to keep going so that we could experiment. Sometimes actually with a lot more what? Silence. Silence within the sound fabric. If we do allow silence, then suddenly the role of you dancers becomes heightened in a way, I would suggest, because you become part of the sound fabric. Or suddenly the visual and the auditory weave together in a different, more intimate way than just there's the visual and there's the auditory.
Do you take that to the extreme a little bit? That
If we have time, you probably have many more things to think about.
We're fine, I'm not too o'clock over here, we're fine.
Okay.
Want the same phrase?
Just do it across that way once. I'm going to start by nurturing you totally, and then I'm going to withdraw little by little. This is the way a parent parents children, I suppose. I'm going to start by matching you fully. That would be the total nurturement, the total support. Then I'm going to withdraw. Not in a rude way, not in a breaking way, but to allow you more and more self-determination. You know, I mean, how else is a child to learn to walk if we never let go of their hands? So let's just hear and see what happens. the hell is going on? And so that's what I mean by letting the dance be the score. Watch the dancers and play what they're doing in some way or another. It's so obvious, but I'm in 6 and they're in 5. Sometimes. Now, I've got to see if this is in 5 or 6 so that I can build things. That's in 7. 6, 1. Yeah. I got it. Okay, it's in a, sure, very nice. Work.
And one. Tappy dee yum bum ba 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 bum ba ba ya ba ba bum ba ya ba 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 ya dee yum bum ba 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 bum ba ya ba ba ya ba ba bum. Right in front. Barrage, one barrage. Ready and one. Those 3 gentlemen. Okay? Yeah. Yeah.
I think he wants it because it has that.
No, you got one too many taps in there. Tap, tap. Only 2. Now front foot is up in the back.
A major.
Undershift swap. There you go. Now,
I've done my place.
yep. Now breathe in right.
Should we try
Now
it?
breathe in left.
Oh, go ahead.
She knows that.
Play, go. Do we want to try what he's
Left
saying?
foot. Undershift tap.
Do we want to try what he's saying, or do you want to do it?
Undershift swap. You're here. Ask on blank.
Just see.
Breathe in left. Come to squeeze. Breathe in right. Come to squeeze. Yes, okay? Okay. First 2 gentlemen. And that'll give you a little more space at the bar. You won't be playing on those. Yeah. 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 Well, you're going to get this in the center later. Don't worry. This isn't the end of it. No, you know, we think we're a little fast. You're going to be a little slower in front.
We're going to try it with what you were singing.
Little
Okay.
Swan Lake Act 3. Good
Yeah.
for you. Great. Okay. All right, ready? And 4, 2. And 1,
something that's rhythmical sports we're doing and not necessarily melodic.
But here, see what you were
Yeah, I'm
doing.
fine. Sorry.
What you
Just
were
my
doing.
throat is killing.
It had a very even thing, but you needed to have that pickup and so that they have that sense of that. Because when they're doing, like when the weight change and everything, time to crease and brise and everything like that, they really need to have somebody to sort of nudge them.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if we're just keeping it real easy and even with it, then they're not gonna feel that.
I don't want.
How well it's working with the phrasing? Is it accenting the phrasing?
Is there anything the dancers want to say too? I mean, this is an interactive process, so do you feel any difference in the experience given what you had? But I can say something. It's just that after this release, yeah, it would be really lovely to have a sense of resistance in the music for this contraction, because almost all the way through with Graham, we're working for opposition against an action, yeah, so it's that sense of pulling that we're looking for. Yeah. But
I think how I would translate that into musician, not a feeling of pressing forward in the music, if anything, holding back tempo-wise. Because there's a way, especially when the subdivisions are 3, that it can gather up momentum, and even it may never actually change by the metronome, but somehow there's a feeling of pressure forward. But actually with Graham, a lot of times you have to go the opposite way and feel almost a slight delay. Not a real one either, but just a feeling. I can't describe it in depth, but you all kind of know what I'm talking about. Maybe I should play it once with that, see if I can do that. Same thing, holding back.
Okay, just in second or both the entire thing? From
Well, do it with soles of the feet together. That's easier on their bodies.
We're thinking of you, really. So, okay, we're going to do 4, and then just take your finish. Okay, voice back, breath out. Ready, 2, go, drop down.
Could you see the 2 different ways? Was it different enough that you could tell what I was talking about?
Good, guys, thanks.
Could you 2 feel the difference in those 2 ways?
Yeah.
And I think the second one is more what's usually wanted overall.
How many phrasings are you doing?
4, 1, 2, over 2, release 2, up 2. They do that twice. Twice in the second position, twice in the third position, twice in the fourth position, and they take 1 more contraction to finish. Okay. Out. Ready to go. Breath out.
tendency to want something that strikes fairly hard, boom, and travels on, and again, boom. Yeah, so I don't know how to translate that into musicians' terms, but certainly there is that definite moment in the music and then allows them
Because
to
of the contraction, right?
sound beyond it, yes.
Yeah.
Although there is you can have it in both places. There's not only the action of contracting where you would need a definite accent, but there's also the moment where you would release to come back vertical. Yeah, so you have two things I think almost always to think about. Well, there's many more, but certainly it's the accent of the body rounding and the accent of the body releasing that becomes your beat. Yeah, you could almost focus on that consistently.
I thought it seemed effective that he crescendoed at the end. He brought the whole thing to a kind of a build. It would seem that that would help the dance because you would tire at the end of the combination.
Something else that happens a lot, certainly in classic Graham, is that there is a tag to the end of any combination. And that's because Martha never wanted something to end. She wanted it to end in its next cycle. So in fact, we were always looking at a new beginning. So very often you'll see in the structure of the combination, there's something called the tag that goes and finish, so that we're active at the end, not passive. So you'll always have this one more and to sustain. Okay, so we start, yes? Lift 1, out, 2, and 3, and 4, side, lift, spiral, and out, and again, lift, and spiral, and out, and lift, and spiral, and out, 2 twos, lift, up, and out, and up, and out, and 8 times, and 4 times, lift, 1, 2, and open, the 2, and lift, and open, 4 times. Speak over there.
Some of them have trouble keeping with your rhythm because
I needed more notes.
Yeah,
We'll have to pay her more for more notes.
she was giving you some silence in places where you normally are used to more actual notes, but I think that's healthy.
And I really enjoyed it because it gave the exercise more fluidity because we do tandas in every class every day, but to just move through them, it helped out that way. It's
More
kind of like
sustained.
doing the long leans with the rolling music. It sort of like opens up in a new direction for the students.
Well, what I thought was interesting about it, because I'm like you, I played, we all play tandu so often that after a while, you say, oh, well, I know what tandu music is, and you sort of go into that mode, and never,
Yes.
and sometimes, for me, tandu is not one of my favorite exercises to play for in terms of emotional quality. Not like, pliés I find more richness in and some other exercises, but tandus are sort of like bread and butter, no flavor. But what was nice about what she did was that she gave a really broad dynamic range, and so that almost created a musical form to that, which for me would have just been the 12 counts 8 times, but she had like 24 counts building to a climax and 48, and then a diminuendo, and then another thing happening. So that was nice. I thought. Did you all?
And she set up in the first number of phrases very, very clearly the pulse and the rhythm. So if one's ear as dancer was attuned enough to what was set up in the beginning, very clearly you could go on with it within your own inner ear.
Yeah. That's something that I think that we've come to lean on our musicians very heavily. And I think as dancers, I would say to you that the rhythm stayed clear, and it was your job to actually work in the silences with exactly that. It's just that there's no familiarity at this level, I think, in particular, because we really support them musically so that they learn physically.
Well, Ray and I talk amongst ourselves. I'm sure you do this with your colleagues too. And we often say, we really do too much for the dancers, and shouldn't we try to screw them up periodically instead of always supporting them every second, And I think that's true, because ultimately you do need to rely on your inner strength.
I think the feeling that I've had in listening to that is that my ears became more alive at that point when it changed somewhat, and then I had to depend more on that part instead of sort of floating along. You get it into your body a particular way, you almost stop hearing it. You keep feeling it, but you don't hear it. And when it changed like that, then I had to pay more attention, and it brought my head back into the body more.
It's interesting to hear all the comments, because I always find tandus like doing a march. And the teacher always says to work through the foot, and no matter how hard I try, it's like, and it's really hard to work through it. But with the music that you were playing, everything became continuous, and I felt like it wasn't a march anymore. It was the first time I've done tandus that I can remember. It didn't feel like a march, but it felt good because I was paying attention to what was happening in between instead of those two endpoints. And I felt more like it was dancing than doing tandus. I like that.
I think Marjorie has sometimes did it left hand over the right, and when we did that, that was like on beat 2 of the 3, beat 1, 2, 3, 1, da, da, 1, 2, 3, 1. And sometimes when those shifts happen, he also changed the harmony, so it felt like a new 1 for a second, and then you realized that he was keeping the same number. Did you notice that? Did you feel sometimes like
Would that be what was making us feel like pulling us through?
Maybe.
I liked the pressure, of course, going down and up. The two things maybe to consider is the great shift forward and shift back in the music. It's one of the other things that we work with a lot, and they do it very early in the combination. I missed some sense of the work of pressing forward and falling back. And on the spiral, similarly to the floor, after we've had the work of down and up into the earth, this whole series has that same feeling as the long leads. That's actually where it comes from. It's developed into a standing place. So within the same combination, you have the use of the contraction going down and up. You have the use of the shift back and forward, and you also have the use of the release of the torso. So there's certain places, we're certainly familiar with having emphasis.
Well, once again, that relates, I think, to what Ray was talking about earlier, whether we sometimes use this word Mickey Mouse, which is used in a lot of different ways, but whether we want to support every possible quality that's present in the exercise, or whether we want to stick with one musical quality throughout and let you all choose to do do the different qualities against the grain.
That's what I found.
Yes, I thought his was stayed in the same quality throughout, and you guys.
It forced me to look for.
But it would be also possible to change qualities several times within the musical structure. But that, I think, is really our choice unless you demand something.
All right, guys, let's go left, right. So right leg first, before we roll into each other. Okay, ready to go in and one. And shift. And scoop.
Totally different quality.
action.
But I'm just going to do a different style.
This action. Go. We're ready to go and press.
What do we do?
Go and press.
I would have picked a different scale if I couldn't figure out which pitch that was on.
That's a great count.
Are you going to play? We got to hear you play.
5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Next group.
2 6s, a chunk of 5s, and then a
five and a
Three
three.
come back to 5,
Two
and then
A's,
6.
Yeah, it's an
How many
8, but
5s? How many 5s?
With the two fives, and two
Ray,
sixes,
Ray, can you write out a
then
phrase
five,
map
a
for
three,
her?
a 5, a 3.
which is actually
Remember
an
the
8.
phrases? Write it out for her.
5s.
What is it? Yeah, it's I always break these down into 3s and 2s. I don't know how everybody else counts them. So I count it as 3, 3, 3, 3, then 3, 2, 3, 2, and then 3, 2, 3, 3, 2, 3, and then 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2.
That's so simple, right?
So it's like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right?
So you really have
That's
no
the
use
only way I
for
can do
7
it.
and 8 in your
And then-
life.
And then I always carry a little thing of Post-its and a pencil, and I write them
Well, that's
down
what
here
she
and stick them
needs.
so
Like,
they can't see it.
she needs it right now.
And then they think that I can count.
Okay, what is it?
This is for you.
We're discussing here for a second. Do you want to write it out?
How many sixes is it getting? 2 sixes. Shall I get the whole thing?
Yeah, do the
2
sixes.
2 5s, then a 5 and a 3, 5 and a 3, and 2 sixes to exit, subdivided in twos.
Yes. Well said. 6s to 5, 5, 3,
Or is it 4 6s?
3, 2, 3. Subdivided into 2.
No, 2 6.
And then 7 twos.
5,
No, wait.
6 1 3 4. And if you want to call me, 2 6 2.
But now making this musical is a challenge.
Okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, then over. To go and
It's just, we go back up there, and then as soon as we start boogieing again, lights and sound, will fade. And we'll keep moving.
Rehearsal, 8 to 9:30.